Yo, what is up, legit football fans? It is Phillip Fox, and I'm here with the Waiver Wire show tonight. No Brian McFadden. He is on a holiday. Absolutely heartbreaking. We're going to miss Brian dearly. Not as much as we're going to miss his outstanding Waiver Wire picks, but fear not. I am here, and I have my top 10 Waiver Wire signings of the week that I think everybody should be placing claims on. It is a holiday week, so I totally understand, people being more hesitant to dive into content for, the NFL, with the exception of Thanksgiving football. However, if you are one of the few who pays close attention to everything going on this week, open your legit football emails, attend the Waiver Wire show. There probably won't be a fantasy Q&A episode on Thanksgiving itself, obviously. Might think about doing one tomorrow, might think about doing a Friday show. We'll keep you posted. We'll be tweeting or this, that, and the third. But in the meantime, make sure that you're one of the few people who are separating themselves from other leagues, who are actually paying attention and making a difference in your fantasy leagues. Before we get started, I do want to give a special shout out to Thomas Bray in the chat. How are we doing? Thomas, we're doing phenomenal, man. It's holiday week. We're here giving you the waiver wire picks of the week, helping your team. Now that I know Thomas is in the chat, I'm going to keep some of the names private because Thomas and I are in the Legit Football Dynasty League together. Just kidding. I would never do that to the listeners of this outstanding podcast. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, my number one waiver wire pickup of the week is none other than Seattle Seahawks running back Zach Charbonnet. He's probably getting close to that roster percentage where you're not going to be able to get your hands on him at this point, but he did still qualify for the list as of right now. So go jump on Zach Charbonnet, people. Ken Walker is out indefinitely. Charbonnet's worth an arm and a leg for Fab. He could be a league-winning running back. So go out there, throw 30 to 40% of your Fab on Zach Charbonnet, and thank me next week. Number two on my list is a name that I've been saying forever. It's a name that's been on my list since before he was popular, since before he had a popular nickname. And I keep saying the word popular because you guys know I'm talking about New England Patriots wide receiver Pop Douglas. The Patriots had a bye week, so his roster percentage went down. He's down to 33%, but he had 4 straight games of a decent fantasy output, and he has 3 straight matchups against bottom third fantasy football defenses against wide receivers. Hammer your waiver claims for Pop Douglas. I'm talking 15 to 20% of your Fab. Go out there, get Pop Douglas, proceed to prosper. 1 and 2, Zach Charbonnet, Pop Douglas. Number 3, another one. I'm absolutely mortified and disgusted that he still qualifies for this list. The people who have been listening to the show have made it so that he can't possibly qualify for this list. But injuries, streaky play, this, that, the other thing have kept Josh Downs lower than 50% rostered, 49% currently on Yahoo. Guys, what are we doing here? Josh Downs is a monster. He's going to come back healthy. He's been a little banged up, but he's going to come back healthier than ever, and they have a great stretch for fantasy wide receivers. He's hyper-targeted by Gardner Minshew. They have unbelievable chemistry. Go out there and snag Josh Downs and proceed to prosper. Next up, I have Ravens running back Keaton Mitchell, who had kind of a down week, and also there's some kind of weird negative energy from that Thursday night game. He was, not as involved as we would have liked to have seen, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. He did still look as explosive as ever. Lamar was a little bit banged up in that game. Mark Andrews went down. They're going to need plenty and plenty of mouths to feed, and we'll get to another mouth that they're going to have to feed a little later in the show. I don't feel as good about this other name. Spoiler alert, it's Isaiah Likely. He's coming up a little later in the episode. I don't feel as good about him as other people. He's had opportunities in Mark Andrews' absence, and he hasn't always delivered. So honestly, hedge your Isaiah Likely pickups. I'm going to get to him, and I don't mean to throw cold water, but he's going to be on the top of a lot of people's waiver wire lists. Not this one, and not mine personally. If McFadden was here, we might have a debate about it, but he's not here, so I can just assert my opinions as fact and keep it moving. Number 5, I have Vikings running back Ty Chandler. And again, still lower in the roster percentage. He's down at 44%. And it's like, man, we told you last week to pick him up. He went out there and had a phenomenal game. Madison is looking better and better, so I don't know necessarily if Chandler will ever fully usurp the role, but rest of season he's going to have utilization. Him and Dobbs have great chemistry. He's an amazing athlete. Has made some wonderful plays in the time since he's gotten meaningful snaps and minutes with the Vikings. So go out there and grab Ty Chandler. Proceed to prosper. Number 6, I'm gonna put on my homer cap here. I've loved this player's talent ever since he was drafted by the Buffalo Bills, and that is Khalil Shakir, slot wide receiver extraordinaire. Gabe Davis has a combined 2 receptions through his last 3 games. That's mortifying. And if you're somebody like me who took a chance on Gabe Davis in a fantasy football league or two, I think it's time to old yeller Gabe Davis. You can take him out behind the shed. Again, I love the man. He's a captain. He's got the C on his chest, but he is not a good fantasy football player. And sometimes I debate whether or not he's a good wide receiver. But Khalil Shakir, in his absence, and by absence, I mean in his lack of productivity, I mean, Khalil Shakir put up over 100 yards, had an 81-yard touchdown on Sauce Gardner. Shout out to all the Jets fans listening. Sorry that I brought that one up. That one might sting a little bit, but unbelievable performance from Khalil Shakir. And I think it's going to continue. I think he's going to get meaningful looks. This was Joe Brady's first game calling plays for the Bills, and Shakir goes out there and puts up over 100 yards. I think it means something. I think we need to start paying attention to Khalil Shakir in fantasy football. Number 7, I have Chiefs wide receiver Justin Watson. Watson is another one that's unbelievably talented. He is looking like the Chiefs wide receiver 1, which kind of is a little bit pukey, but he gets open, he gets targets. He had 5 receptions last night. So you want Pat Mahomes targets, Rashee Rice, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, kind of just been a handful of nothing. And somehow, some way, Justin Watson continues to get the most looks, the most targets, the most receptions. I think it's time we started paying serious attention to Justin Watson in Kansas City, and almost like it's the kind of thing that's not going to feel good doing it. I would recommend maybe taking a Tums before you have to start him, but you could do a lot worse. That's my number 7 pickup. Number 8, I have Titans quarterback Will Levis, and this is mostly due to his schedule. There's a lot of middling teams against the pass, and Will Levis has proven to be so explosive. 2 out of his 3 starts have been great fantasy outputs. He threw another bomb to Nuke this week. I think we might be looking at something sort of like a weekly thing with the Will Levis to Nuke bombs. So, and he's also high upside athletic traits. I love a good traits guy. I wouldn't be just trotting him out there just yet without the right matchups. But like I said, there's so many matchups rest of season for Will Levis that are like he doesn't really play any particularly easy matchups, but none of them are daunting. He's not playing any of those juggernaut, Browns, defenses like that. He's playing a lot of mediocre to bad defenses. So Will Levis is somebody to target as a QB streamer rest of season, especially in Superflex. In Superflex, blow a bag on Will Levis from Fab. Number 9 pickup of the week is a less popular, it's a very popular name, but I'm less enthusiastic about it. I think he's less likely to perform than the other names on my list. Sorry, I know that was disgusting. If Brian were here, he would probably give me a slap on the wrist for that one. But Isaiah Likely for the Ravens. He is number 9 on this list because the Mark Andrews target void can't be denied. Mark Andrews is going to leave a huge hole in that Ravens pass catching attack. And Isaiah Likely has historically been sort of a hit and miss guy in his minutes. So it's not going to feel good again. And you're going to have to take a leap of faith if you're going to throw him in your lineup. I am one of the many people in the world who had Mark Andrews week 1 when he went out and threw Likely in their lineup. And I want to say got goosed. I remember it was a nightmare output from Likely in week 1. He sunk teams, present company. So yeah, honestly, guys, do it at your own risk. I don't hate it because, like I said, he's got talent. and he should have opportunity in fantasy. Fantasy plus opportunity equals production, but we haven't seen it in abundance from Isaiah Likely ever in his career. So hold your breath. Maybe wait for a game or two. Maybe wait to see him establish himself in that role. But it's better to be late um, than never. So see what happens. But I'm here to tell you that it's okay. I won't cancel you if you are a little late to the likely party or if you miss the party entirely, because somebody's probably going to blow a bag on them in Fab. So just be smart with the Isaiah Likely. And last but not least, I'm talking about the same target void that I've been talking about. He's my third Raven on this list. And he's a name that legit football contributor Adrian Revito has consistently besmirched. And I was in on him at the beginning of the season. And I think we're starting to see what Odell Beckham Jr. can become in this offense. I mean, clearly Lamar loves him. Clearly he still has it. I mean, those plays that he's been having, those slants that he's taking and making guys miss and holding the football like a loaf of bread, kind of like Shady McCoy a little bit. It's fun to watch. It does remind me a lot of his Giants days. So you got to throw love to Odell Beckham Jr. He's my number 10 on this list. For all intents and purposes, my honorable mention. Pay attention to his practice reports because he did bang up his shoulder in that game. But man, have I liked what I've seen from Odell Beckham Jr. lately. So yeah, I'm trying to come at you with like not all just the obvious names. There are some names like the obvious ones, like, Devin Singletary. If he's still out there, grab Devin Singletary. These are the names we try to go with lower roster percentages here. There was a couple higher ones today. Because Brian usually is the one who polices what percentages can go on the list and whatnot. And Brian's really strict about it for himself. So I use my own leagues as a barometer. If they're free agents in any of my leagues, because I kind of think of myself as just like one of you, right? Like we're all just fantasy football players out here. So if they're available in my league, I'm assuming they're probably going to be available in some of your leagues. So I appreciate you guys as always for listening and checking out the Waiver Wire show. That was my 10 names. Yeah, there was, like I said, tried to be a little unconventional with it. Hope you guys enjoyed that approach. Definitely don't overlook obvious names. Okay. A little tip that since McFadden's not here and Thomas hasn't commented in a second, so I'm going to assume Thomas left. Some pro tips as far as how to make your waiver claims. Check your darn, Thomas is still here. I screwed up really bad. That's the end of our show. Just kidding. I'll still give you the tip. Check your league settings for roster percentage in the waiver pool, because the chances that somebody dropped a gem that they didn't know about is high. I will confess here on air, again, no Brian McFadden. I'm in the clear. I feel free to do it. I did pick up KJ Osborne in a Superflex Dynasty League. And somebody dropped him. I don't know why. Superflex Dynasty Vikings have a promising future. They're going to have a good quarterback. They have Justin Jefferson. KJ Osborne's looked the part every time he's gotten an opportunity. So I went out and snagged him. And I thought to myself, his roster percentage is in the 80s. And I thought to myself, why did he get cut? Why did nobody try to trade him? But it happens every week. People say all the time, oh, I don't know how I got this guy, but I got him. Zach Charbonnet, I'm sure, has been dropped all over prior to his recent outburst. If you listen to us, you'd already have added him because he's been on our list every single week. But that being said, check the roster percentage tab and also check the weekly ads tab, because the obvious ones, the ones that are going to be on your front pages, your Yahoo Sports, your ESPN or whatever, their ownership will skyrocket through the ads tab, so you can see how many people added them, and then that kind of shows you, like, you can kind of gauge off of, do I want to follow suit? Do I want to go with what everybody's going with? Usually that's why you listen to the Waiver Wire show, because you're smarter than that. You scroll a little bit and you see like that next tier of names of like the guys who you can just be a week ahead on. So just a couple little fun tips. Just, it was a short show. It's not even 15 minutes long. But I wanted to give you guys some extra little nuggets for being here, spending your holiday week with me. I'm so happy to come to you guys and give you guys this stuff, because we're lucky, man. The legit football team, Thomas, Brian, Adrian, Jimmy, Gabby, Joe, everybody who works on legit football, we're all really lucky, and we all just love football so much. So I want to give you this little part of an affirmation of how much you guys mean to us and how much this all means to us. So without the boss here keeping me on the tight time schedule, just kidding. We all know Brian is as chill as they come, but it does allow me to just offer gratitude to the listeners, offer gratitude to the team. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't see any questions in the chat. I'll stick around for a second. I'll have a sip of coffee. I'll show off my mug that my wonderful Aunt Laura got me. You can see, can you tell that it's lavender colored? I can't, yeah. It's a cool little mug. My Aunt Laura got it for me when she was in LA visiting. Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat, so I'm going to end the show. But I want to thank you guys again for listening. I want to thank Thomas. I want to thank Brian. I want to thank the team. I want to thank the NFL. What an unbelievable season. Yes, a lot of people are Tom Brady's talking about the quality. Come on, man. Don't talk to me about the quality of football, bro. I watched Tom Brady win a Super Bowl 3-10. He's not the guy for that. But anyways, some love from Thomas here. Thomas, you do so much and we appreciate you. Don't ever trip. You enjoy your Thanksgiving as well, brother. But yeah, it's been a great season. The injuries part sucks, and being a Bills fan and watching them kind of melt down a little bit sucks. But I think they might be back. Let's see. I'll pump the brakes, but I might be picking them to beat the Eagles. We'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Waiver Wire podcast with Legit Football, and we are out.